Hello! Thank you for coming to this video today, guys. I really appreciate it. This is my new channel, Big Pay Clips. I really need some support on this channel. It's very new, and YouTube is harsh to new channels. So if you guys want to support this channel, the best thing you can do is subscribe to it, turn on the notification bell, leave a like on the video, and also comment down below. Maybe even just a thumbs up. It would really help the channel. I do want to grow this channel. This is going to be specifically clips from the Cardano Aura podcast. The link for that will be down below. And then some other things I want to do, just some other creative ideas that I have, right? If you want to support the channel financially, the best way you can do so is delegating to my pools. I have Bloom and Bloom 2. Both pools have a 2.5 million pledge, and we are delegated by 3,000 different delegates in the Cardano ecosystem. So that shows you that a lot of other people believe in Bloom, and I do personally. I delegate all my ADA to Bloom. Another way you can help me without ADA, a free way to do it, and you also get to block ads on this video that you're watching today, is you download the Brave browser. What the Brave browser does is it actually blocks ads, and it blocks the trackers within those ads, and those trackers track your location, getting your IP address, and they use that and actually sell it to other people to help pay for those ads. So if you want to stop that, all you do is you download the Brave browser from the link down below. It uses Chrome, so you can bring over all your Chrome stuff, and you actually get paid in cryptocurrency for using the browser. As you can see right here, I have 3.5 BAT, and you can actually go to websites that you like and send it to those websites. Look, so you can send one tip. There you go. But yeah, let's jump into the video.
Rules and so forth, and then the community can comfortably have a high K factor without much disruption.
So are there any other parameters that after Shelley was released and you guys digested it that you think need changing, and in what direction, or and what problems were created to have to fix it?
No, yeah, there's 22 parameters that are under consideration that the team actively looks at, and the ones that SPOs tend to care are like A naught and K and D, for example.
Yeah, I think D's the big one right now.
Yeah, but to be fair, it's been decreasing every epoch.
Yeah, well, I think that jump from 0.9 to 0.8 really helped a lot of people out.
Yeah, and now we're at 0.78, I think, or 0.76. I can't remember.
Yeah, I think it's 775.
Okay,
off
yeah,
the top of
like
my head.
almost a quarter of the network is now run by SPOs, and every epoch it will decrease by some amount. And the reality is, it's not going to be like a year. It's gonna. We want to, at the very least, get through one more hard fork combinator event and implement full peer-to-peer and get Goguen stuff in before it falls below 0.5. But it's in no one's best interest for it to stay above zero for a long period of time. It's in everybody's best interest for that to get to zero. So there's no friction in reducing that parameter. It's just it has to fall at a constant rate, and so we're doing that. So I think D is pretty okay. K, the long-term goal for K has been 1,000, because that's what we talked about, and that was kind of our target. And I would like to see it there quickly. And then for the pledging factor, I think we're at a reasonable amount now. Be interesting if K is increased to 1,000 to see what we should do about A naught. And then there's other things like min cost and things to consider and so forth. And I think that some of these things can be resolved by, especially some of the criticism of very small operators, by some operators merging together. So multi-sig pledge in these things, and then also delegation portfolios mean that you're no longer directly marketing to people, rather you're marketing to curators to be included on some sort of list that you know is going to get a reasonable amount of delegation to it. For example, the Cardano Foundation doesn't want to be in the business of picking winners and losers, but they have 600+ million ADA to delegate. So it would be really nice if they could just delegate to a curated list. And if you happen to be on that list, you're guaranteed to get some sort of proportion of it. So these are the things that I don't think people fully appreciate or understand at the moment, but are very powerful from a certain perspective, and actually getting a fair stake of ADA. So we'll see how that business materializes over time. What really annoys me, though, is, there's all these people saying, like, well, if you don't immediately change parameters today, all the small stake pool operators will die, and the whole network will become super centralized and federated forever, and first mover advantage will be so strong. It's like, guys, if we built a network where you only had 2 weeks or 3 weeks of time to get established, and anybody who didn't in that period of time, that would be a failed project. So no, that's not the case at all. Things change very rapidly, And so, even if it's not exactly the most favorable for SPO, smaller SPOs today, it could become dramatically more so in the future. And there's all kinds of things we can do to bootstrap the next wave and so forth.
Hmm.
So just be patient, just be
Yeah.
patient.
Yeah,
We'll
I've
get
said
where
the
we
same thing and gotten a lot of shit for it too. I'm like, people. I made a tweet earlier and I said the future of Cardano is bright, and someone replied to it and said, "Well, what about all the small stake pool operators?" And I was like, "Man, it's been a month. Like, I had a really rough time during the ITN because the software wasn't good initially, and I started to build a profitable business during the ITNs, and it took me probably 4 months to do that, and."
right,
And then now, because I did that during the ITN, it all paid off now. And I think a lot of the small stake pool operators are still early in this game. And if they're willing to
right.
wait a few months, when the D parameter's lower, K's higher, the value of ADA is more, there's going to be so much more money going around to support these small stake pool operators. And you just have to be passionate about what you do and just be willing to persevere.
And also, they're starting businesses. This is the other thing they don't seem to comprehend. If you set up a Subway or a McDonald's, do you think the first day of operation that your new franchise is going to be profitable?
Mm-hmm.
No, it takes a little while to bootstrap your business. And
Years, usually.
so set up. You're a small business operator, and so there's a little bit of growing pain and time. And the other thing is, if you're not of a certain scale and you can't make money at that scale, you need to partner with people and bring people together. And this is why I'm looking at things like multi-sig pledge and so forth to make it a little easier for smaller operators to partner with each other so they can get to a certain scale to do that. You also have to market.
Mm-hmm.
You have to build a brand. Why should somebody buy from you versus Jim or Bob or Jane? Well, you have to create some sort of compelling reason for that. And you have to understand your audience. And they say, well, that's not fair. I should be guaranteed money. It's like, name one business where these are not basic facts of life, that you have to find customers and market and manage your operating costs closely. And they also have to be patient, allow yourself some time to spool up and grow in size, scope, and scale. So unfortunately, we just live in Moon Boy land, and everybody's used to fast, easy money. And they don't really understand that when that disappears, we're left behind with business reality, where there are plenty of businesses in the world that live on 5%, 6% margins. There's plenty of businesses in the world that they don't make 100Xs. In fact, the vast majority of businesses live that reality, and even the best of them live on 30% or 40%. And that's fine. And that's reality. That's life. And we didn't build Cardano to be magic moon boy money machine. We built it to be a sustainable financial operating system that will have predictable, reliable management and operations 50 years from now. You can't afford a system that gives everybody 100x if you're going to be around for 50 years. Because think about exponential growth. It was like an old Indian proverb. This wise sage does something for the Sultan. And the Sultan says, okay, well, now that you've done something for me, what shall your reward be? And he says, well, I tell you what, give me a grain, give me 1 grain of rice give me a chessboard and give me a grain of rice on each square doubling. So the first square, give me 1 grain of rice. The next square, give me 2. The next square, give me 4. And the Sultan immediately agreed. He's like, oh, this guy's foolish, not realizing that it would be more grain than all the more rice than the entire country of India has for the last square on the board, right? It's to the 64th power. Exponential growth. It's something human beings are very bad at. Yeah. So nobody really seems to comprehend that when you talk about like 20%, 30% returns, what that really means in a 10-year period or 15-year period. Like there's all these proof of stake coins that are coming out. And they say, we give a 20% ROI, 30% ROI every year. I say, okay, so every 2.5 years, your system is doubling. So in a 5-year period, 10-year period, like imagine where you're going with that. 20-year period, imagine where you're going with that. How will your system sustain that level of inflation? It can't. It will collapse likely in a few years on itself because when people realize that, it'll enter into a death spiral. Meanwhile, when you look at reasonable growth systems like 5%, 6%, you can sustain growth like that for long periods of time. We have strong monetary evidence of that. Especially if you have nonlinear demand inside the system.
And especially if you have the transactions coming in when Gogan comes out, another revenue stream. Yeah.
Exactly. And, and that's the other thing is like when the system gets real use and utility, the inflation rate continues to fall. But you stop caring about the inflation rate because you start entering redistribution, enter the transaction fees, and you're processing millions of transactions on that system. And the combined economic value of those transactions far more than anything that 5% inflation was. The network becomes profitable in that respect. And that's not exponential growth. That's just basically being paid to provide a service. And the more you do, the more you get paid. Just that simple. And there's all the other services that will be offered because, we'll have native assets and some of them will probably pay transaction fees in the asset. So instead of getting one currency, you get a whole portfolio of currencies. Then you'll have all these layer 2 services that you offer, like Oracle pools, and you offer or Hydra channels and these other things and interoperability bridges. And then suddenly when people are using those highways, they get paid a toll for that. So you have 14, 15 product lines. It's like opening up a 7-Eleven. You sell the gas, but then you also have the convenience store and you sell beer and cigarettes and water and all this other stuff. And you have all those dozens of products.